Hi, my name's Kerry Sparke. I've just been helping Robbie with the last round of MacGroup meetings on harvesting efficiency, and I've been involved in the macadamia industry for 20 years in a number of different roles, involved with harvesters, building harvesters, running contract harvesting machines, mainly with Fingerwheel harvesters. So we're just going to talk about a few things that I've learned over the years to improve your harvesting efficiency. One of the things that we're going to talk about Fingerwheel harvesters today. These set of Fingerwheels came off a contractor's machine. He owns his own farm as well as contracts and leases farms. These are actually his reject wheels. So how many growers out there have wheels that look like this and think they're okay? So he's identified, just in the savings in labour alone, not machine costs, that it's cheaper for him to replace the wheels, the finger wheels, each season rather than do extra passes through the farms. So just on labour alone, he can justify replacing these wheel packs each year. A lot of the wheel packs are bought as a pack from the manufacturers. The spokes are held together with zip ties a lot of the time. It's important when you buy installed or wheel pack frame that the zip ties aren't pulled too tight, because they will pull the outside wheel frames in too tight and allow the fingers to flare out, which will wear the wheel frames, also cause the wheel packs to bind in the frames and wear away the fingers quite quickly. So it's just important to be aware of that the zip ties aren't too tight or too loose. The other way of holding the wheel packs together is threaded rods. Some of the contractors use them on bigger machines, so they're pre-cut at the right length. It's important to make sure that they're not too tight or too loose. The other thing to be aware of, if you don't have any way of holding the fingers together, is they'll flare apart when they load up with nuts. This will cause them to bind on the wheel frames and also wear the fingers away. This pack of wheels is designed for a gapless head, so the outside finger wheel is 3mm narrower than the internal ones. So it's important when you're buying pre-manufactured wheel packs that you buy the correct set for your harvester. If it's got a gapless head, the outside wheel packs will be slightly narrower than the internal ones. We have a harvester head cut out here, which has the finger wheels, the frames, the injectors. This is a new set of finger wheels or wheel pack. It spins really freely because all the fingers are straight. They're not binding on the ejector fingers. The issue with these is that the axle is actually worn out. So there's way too much movement in this wheel pack. And what it allows it to do is to rub on the side of the wheel frames, also to rub on the fingers. So this will wear the wheel frames apart, wear them away, and also tend to wear the fingers off the wheel pack. So really important to make sure that you have the right size axles and they're at the right specifications as the original harvester manufacturer has made them. This set of wheel packs is really worn out, so it doesn't spin very freely. So this would stop a lot, which would cause a lot of grief to the driver of the machine. Plus it's not picking up very many nuts at all. So this is well worn out and certainly needs replacing. It's also wearing the wheel frames away. These wheel frames they're bent and quite badly worn. I'd actually be replacing them because they're out of spec and they're causing the wheel packs to rub on the side of the wheel frames. The other thing, with a lot of the farms now growing grass on the inner row, which has made it slightly more difficult to pick up nuts out of the grass. So to address this, we've come up with a couple of different solutions. One is to install divers weights or plates of steel to increase the weight of each individual wheel pack. This tends to push the fingers further into the grass to give a cleaner harvest pickup. The other thing is the elastics, which I prefer, so that increases the downward force on these fingers. Some growers use a different compound, a more harder compound in the grass, in conjunction with the elastics to increase the pressure, downward pressure of each wheel pack to give a cleaner harvest. The other thing to be aware of, at the start of the season, the wheel frames will be rusty usually, so it's, particularly on a gapless head, it's really important to make these really slick and clean. I'd polish them up with a wire brush. Then different growers use soluble oil. They'll also use WD-40 to make them really slick so they don't bind on each other. So it's important to be aware of that. The soluble oil on the actual wheel packs early in the morning is helpful as well, particularly when there's dew on the grass. The other thing to be aware of is in this wheel frame, the travel on the wheel frames in relation to the auger, these actually, at their full extension, they drop down too low. So none of the nuts that are picked up are ejected into the auger frame. So even though these will pick up nuts, they will drop them straight back on the ground. They won't actually go into the auger frame. So these should not travel any further than that. I'd be putting a spacer underneath the front of the wheel frames to reduce the travel on these wheel frames. The other thing, I guess, when you're setting up your harvester, replacing your wheel packs, check the ejector fingers are nice and straight. What you're trying to do is bring the harvester back as close as you can to the original manufacturer specifications, because that's how it was designed to run efficiently. And any of those little things, whether it's the wheel frames, the ejector fingers, the axles, that are not up to the original specs, the finger wheels, then the harvester's not working at its peak efficiency. So these are just a few tips that we picked up along the way, and I'd just like to wish everyone all the best for the new harvest season in 2017, and hopefully some of these tips are helpful.
For more information and to stay up to date, see your industry magazine and e-newsletter.